What's that? Someone calling me? Oh. Huh? All right, hold on. I'm coming. Hello. Jiminy Cricket speaking.
Jiminy, you've always wanted to produce a show.
It's the boss. Yes.
Well, how'd you like to help us put together a brand new animated film?
Me?
Yes, you. Make it a Christmas story and see if Mickey and the rest of the gang will come back and lend us a hand.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, Jiminy, have a good show, but watch the budget.
Oh, dear. Enjoy yourself. Let's see now. Get Mickey and his gang, have a good show, but watch the budget. Watch the budget? Oh, heavens to Betsy.
Walt Disney Studios, home to characters and stories spun from pure cinematic magic. But up until 1983, the Disney character who started the whole enchanted operation hadn't made a movie in 30 years.
Get Mickey Mouse on the phone.
Rounding up an all-star animated cast for Mickey's Christmas Carol was only the beginning. A production team of artists and technicians would have to be gathered to create a film that would stand proudly next to the Disney animated classics of the past. Coordinating the team's efforts was the job of director Bernie Mattinson. Bernie started work in the studio mailroom the same year his star, Mickey, made his last big screen appearance in 1953. 30 years later, Bernie became the one person most responsible for Mickey's historic comeback.
My job ostensibly was to just start the story going, get the individual pictures drawn, so we could see what we had. And then it became a thing where we have to get it right into production. So we had something like 3 or 4 weeks before we had to get it recorded and into work. I kind of felt my role was sort of a Tom Sawyer in a way, where you were giving out the paintbrushes to the animators and they were painting your fence for you, you know, and you inspire them to do it.
One of the first decisions facing Bernie involved matching the personalities of Disney's famous characters with the familiar names in Charles Dickens' classic Christmas Tale. And when your audience knows your actors and story almost as well as you do, you want to be sure everyone is cast in just the right role.
The main characters in the story, of course, are Scrooge McDuck and Donald and Mickey. And beyond that, we brought back Jiminy Cricket for the first Ghost, the Ghost of Christmas Past. And then we brought back the Giant from Mickey and the Beanstalk. And in a sense, Mickey and the Beanstalk, the picture itself was sort of a guide for us on this picture, which was a half-hour length. And so we took the Giant from that, and he played actually a contrast to Jiminy Cricket, who was so small, and he, on the other hand, was so large. And then Black Pete was brought in for the Christmas Future. And a lot of people don't even remember Black Pete, but he comes off pretty well, too. Then in the dance sequence, we have Daisy, which is young Scrooge's love life in the middle of the picture when he goes back in his past. And we bring in several little characters from past pictures, like Toad. He plays Fezziwig. So we tried places to bring old familiar faces back.
I've located Mickey Mouse. He's at the country club.
The country club? Why didn't you tell me?
Call for Mickey Mouse. Call for Mickey Mouse.
Oh! Don't bother me now, Pluto. I've got a phone call.
While the cast was being assembled, Bernie Mattinson began the crucial process of assigning characters to the animators who would bring them to life during the coming months. Animators Glenn Keane and David Block remember this critical phase of the pre-production process.
Bernie gets all the animators together in a room, and we gather in a circle, and then he's got a name of each character in his hand, and he throws them all up in the air, and we all dive on each other and fighting for it. Which one? I got Willie, and
That's right, and I got screwed.
Yeah.
Certain animators are like actors. They just fit the part. And so that's what we try to do, cast it to a person who wants to do it, too. That's another thing. If he really wants to do it, it'll come off great.
A true story. He would start you out on a character and you know where he thought you might work out well, and if you found that if he liked your stuff and you found you enjoyed working on that character, that was great. I mean, he wanted you to enjoy what you were working on because he knew he'd get the best performance out of you and out of your character if you really enjoyed that particular character. So that was all he needed to hear. If he found an animator that was very enthusiastic about a section of the movie, he thought, well, if that guy really wants to do it, then he's going to give me the best performance. And that's what made him a very special director.
The animators are like your actors, and so you talk the scene to them. You get involved with the scene, and you try to probably sound even like the character, and you're trying to explain what kind of action you do. Mickey, for instance, this just trying to keep my hands warm, sir. He would be very nervous, and he'd say, just trying to keep my hands warm, sir, and he'd kind of sneak up there and quickly back to work. That would be Mickey. He would never stand up and tell him off or anything. Donald Duck would, but not Mickey.
That's right, not Mickey. We all know Mickey's easygoing nature. Almost everyone has a storehouse of childhood memories featuring this thoroughly appealing personality.
Look at all the wonderful things to eat.
And from the first pose Mickey struck in his 1928 debut in Steamboat Willie, that special personality has captured the imaginations of audiences worldwide. Walt Disney explained his favorite cartoon creation as just a nice fellow who never does anybody any harm. Why, he's even been faithful to one girl, Minnie, all his life. Mickey is so simple and uncomplicated, so easy to understand that you just can't help liking him. Through 118 Mickey Mouse cartoons and 2 feature films, moviegoers not only understood this everyman of a mouse, they loved this uncomplicated hero. It was just this quality of constant, unassuming goodwill that made Mickey the perfect choice for the role of the overworked, underpaid Bob Cratchit in Mickey's Christmas Carol. While Mickey's personality remained unchanged over the years, his appearance evolved along with the constantly improving technique of the Disney animators. And befitting our perpetually youthful star, the artist chosen to animate Mickey wasn't even born when the mouse made his last movie.
Well, in the animators, Mark Henn proved terrific when it came to Mickey and to Jiminy Cricket. He always wanted to do Mickey, and he hadn't animated very much before, and he had done a test that was very promising. So we said, well, try some. And he started doing it, and he just blossomed. And the Mickey we've got here, I think, stands up to the old pros of the past.
And whenever an animator like Mark wants to take a look at how those past Disney masters might have handled a particular sequence or action, they come here, to the Animation Research Library. Contained in aisle after aisle are examples of Disney animation dating back to the studio's earliest cartoons. If it can be imagined, it's probably been animated, cataloged, and filed here somewhere. For an animator, the Research Library is a goldmine of resources and inspiration.
Well, I'm down here taking a look at a Mickey scene from Mickey and the Beanstalk that Freddie Moore had animated. Freddie was one of the top Mickey animators that the studio ever had. Matter of fact, he was fairly much responsible for the look and style of Mickey that we know today. And so he's kind of the pioneer of Mickey. What Freddie came up with was a lot more fluid shape in the body, and which allowed for a lot looser, freer kind of animation, a little more expressive in that sense. And then with the addition to the pupil eyes, then they were able to get a little more expression, than what they had with the shoe button eyes. But basically, that's the biggest change or evolution as far as Mickey goes. Well, he's become more than just a cartoon character, and I think that has a lot to do with it. And people think of him as a friend, and I think they're just happy to see him back again, you know. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he's just more than just the drawings on paper, you know, but he represents a style, a personality that, you know, a lot of people like. He's just a very likable person, and Mouse, and I think, you know, it's good to see him back at work again.
I thought you were Pluto.
And like any other movie star since the dawn of talkies, Mickey's personality depends not only on how he looks, but how he sounds.
You know, Mickey Mouse, I hope you've heard of me. I hope.
The familiar falsetto of the world's favorite mouse has been mastered by only 3 individuals during Mickey's career. Disney sound editor Wayne Allwine, the newest voice of Mickey, is making his big screen debut in Mickey's Christmas Carol.
Well, Merry Christmas, Mr. Scrooge! Well, won't you come in? Here's my speaking voice. I go up a little bit higher and a little bit higher, and oh boy, there he is, right there. Now I can go higher, or I can go lower. If you don't hit Mickey just right, here's an example. Oh boy, that's Mickey. Now if I go down here and go, oh boy, that's Mickey. Well, it's not quite right. Or if I go too high, oh boy, that's Mickey. It's not quite right. He sits in a very narrow area, and you've got to pinpoint him.
Well said, Master Fred.
I'm Mickey 3. I'm the 3rd person to do the voice, which implies to me there will be a Mickey 4. So somewhere out there, there's got to be somebody who will eventually fill my shoes as I filled Jimmy's. Start practicing. You never know. Nope, you never do.
Wayne's predecessor was veteran Disney sound man Jimmy McDonald. Back during the making of Mickey and the Beanstalk, Jimmy too stepped into someone else's shoes.
Walt called me. I was on the stage here, and a girl called me and said, "Can you come up? Walt wants to see you." It was in the middle of the Mickey and the Beanstalk, and I went up. He said, "I can't do it anymore. I'm just too busy." So he asked me if I could do a Mickey voice, and I tried it. And he said, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good." And so he said to the fellas there, "After this, call Jim. Don't call me. I'm too bloody busy."
20, 30, 40.
Boy, what a lifeline.
It wasn't, in either case, a situation where Jimmy and I solicited the part. It was sort of given to us. It's very, very strange, though. The succession goes from Walt to Jimmy, who was a sound effects man, to myself, who was another sound effects man. And strangely enough, it just happened to be the fellow they picked to learn Jim's job as a sound effects.
I know that one day I was doing something, and Walt came on the dialogue stage, and I was doing something, and when Walt left, he turned around to the fellows and he said, "Hey, don't forget I do Mickey's voice, too."
Oddly enough, one of the most famous voices heard in Mickey's Christmas Carol is also one of the hardest to understand, and it's even harder to imitate.
In the cheek, huh? Quack, quack, quack.
Nice try, folks. But no one rivals the original voice of Donald Duck when it comes to sounding mad.
I never get mad.
No, you never get mad.
That's right. I'm an actor.
You're an actor, and that explains it all.
For Donald's entire 50-year showbiz career, Clarence Ducky Nash has supplied the unforgettable squawk behind the world's favorite feathered hothead.
He has all the, attributes of a human being who expresses sorrow, sadness, and a little mischief, a lot of laughter.
Now here's your trick. So long, boys.
Yeah, we're pals.
That's right.
Ducky and Donald debuted in a Disney cartoon titled The Wise Little Hen in 1934, and they've been quacking up audiences around the world ever since. Unlike Mickey, no one ever accused Donald of being just a nice guy. The style and temperament of this volatile duck made him a character the Disney animators could really stretch their wings with. Donald's quick boiling temper and unmistakable voice made him an all-time favorite with audiences, too. He starred in no less than 128 cartoons and in some of Disney's most innovative animated features. In 1937, Donald co-starred with the lovely Donna Duck, who later became Daisy Duck and became a calming influence in Donald's hectic life. A good thing, too, because 1 year later, 3 mischievous new arrivals entered the picture, Donald's nephews. Clearly, Donald was a character audiences could sympathize with. But would there be a spot for an irascible star like Donald in Mickey's new film?
Oh, there's a nice part for you, too, my fine-feathered friend. Donald? Don't tell me Donald is...
Yes, Mr. Cricket. Donald's on vacation.
Oh, no.
I'm afraid so, Mr. Cricket.
Oh, the problems of a producer.
Good, sure hand.
Donald, how nice of you to return.
Don't bother me, you stuffed little fly. I'm on my vacation.
Donald, my boy, this show will be a vacation.
With Donald about to be offered the role of Nephew Fred, the team turned its energy to the part of Ebenezer Scrooge. In an inspired bit of typecasting, the role went to Disney's money-loving star Scrooge McDuck.
Well...
I did primarily Scrooge in the picture, and he became more fun as we got deeper into the movie, because in the early part of the picture he's supposed to be real crotchety and real miserly, and I found myself just getting into the character. I was sitting at my desk all hunched over so much because he was kind of in that attitude a lot. And then as he gets into the bedroom sequence where he's talking to Jiminy Cricket, I did all the Scrooges in that section, and he loosens up a little bit, and then at the end when he gets the Christmas spirit, he's real happy, and I've enjoyed that more because he had more vitality and he was a real go-getter at the end. And so I sort of used to go home in the early going with stiff necks, and by the end of the picture he was in a good mood, so I used to go home in a good mood.
The voice of Scrooge was provided by film and TV veteran Alan Young, who brought a special interest of his own to the production.
I guess about 5 years ago, my partner and I, Alan Dinehart, wrote a comedy version of Dickens' Christmas Carol for records. And I did most of the voices. Alan did some, my other partner Alan did some. And we thought that was the end of it. Until one day I heard somebody was auditioning for the voice of Scrooge McDuck. And he said, could you teach me how to do a Scottish accent? And I said, sure I will. And I picked up the script, and it was something I'd written. So I called up the studios, and I said, won't you audition me too? And they said, oh, would you like to do it? I said, certainly would. And that was that.
He always was a little peculiar. And stubborn.
I was born in Tynemouth and moved to Edinburgh when I was about 6 years old, raised in a Scottish community, and I fought to get rid of my accent when I came to America. And now I can get it back fairly easily.
What's this world coming to, Cratchit? You work all your life to get money, and people want you to give it away.
Bah humbug to Christmas. And that's Scrooge McDuck. Oh, he's naughty, he's nasty, but he changes.
I worked on Scrooge, Donald, and Jiminy. And Jiminy's just a real bright, perky kind of character, and he's a good contrast to Scrooge, especially in that part of the picture where they're in the bedrooms. Jiminy is trying to sort of instill some Christmas spirit into him, and Scrooge is just the cynic.
Why, I'm the ghost of Christmas past.
Oh, I thought you'd be taller.
Listen, Scrooge, if men were measured by kindness, you'd be no bigger than a speck of dust.
Kindness is of little use in this world.
They worked off of each other real well. You have the ultimate optimist in Jiminy and the ultimate pessimist in Scrooge. And you worked on Goofy and Willie.
Yeah. Well, Goofy was a challenge. There was a challenge in every character in this picture because of the the part the character was playing sometimes didn't meet up exactly to the part the character was. You know what I'm saying? Like Goofy is a fumbling, bumbling idiot type of a character, but he had to play Marley, who has to scare Scrooge somehow. And so that was a big problem. You know, how are we going to get this funny character to be frightening to Scrooge? And that was, I think we handled it successfully.
Ebenezer, remember when I was alive, I robbed the widows and swindled the poor?
Yes, and all in the same day. Oh, you had class, Jacob.
Yep. No, I was wrong. And so as punishment, I'm forced to carry these heavy chains through eternity. Maybe even longer. There's no hope. I'm doomed. Doomed. And the same thing will happen to you, Ebenezer Scrooge.
No, it can't. It mustn't.
First, you have to look at Goofy. You have to see a picture of what the voice you're depicting. And then you say, well, now, he's only got 2 teeth in front, but they stick out. So you stick your teeth out so you get that sort of a funny sound, you know. And then you try to come up with different kinds of laughs. Gosh, you know, the kind he does. Or whatever the laugh might be. But you always have to remember that you are doing the character they're drawing on the screen. And you have to overact.
Yep.
A big plus for the animators is being able to watch the actors as they record their character voices.
For me, getting to know Will Ryan doing Willie was really helpful. Just because I guess there was so much life that I could see in him in person, you know, that he was putting into the character. It was, you know, I knew I had to at least get that much into Willie.
For Willie the Giant, when I was asked to audition for that part, I went back and looked at Fun and Fancy Free, the Mickey and the Beanstalk sequence, where Billy Gilbert did the voice of Willie the Giant. Well, one of the lines, for example, was Scrooge is describing some food that's surrounding him, so I thought it would be nice to pull a line from the original film and have Willie say, and don't forget the chocolate pot roast with smashio.
With yogurt.
And Glenn Keane did a beautiful job of animating that. It's not vital that you look like a complete idiot when you're doing these voices, but it does help. It really does, because, and it's one of the few chances to really be a ham actor and get away with eating the scenery.
Hi, Jiminy. What's up?
Oh, yeah, what's up?
Oh, glad to have you fellows aboard. Now, here's the scoop. I'm producing a show, and you 3 boys are my stars. Now, we'll start from the beginning.
Oh, that's a good place to start.
With the addition of music, sound effects, and the pre-recorded character voices, the illusion is complete as one of the world's best-loved holiday tales comes to life. After countless hours of story sessions, thousands of drawings, sketches, and painted cells, and lots of late nights at the studio, the return to the screen of the world's most popular mouse is finally a reality.
Oh, thank you, sir.
The resulting film is a classic addition to the fabled Disney heritage. And for Bernie Mattinson and his talented staff, Mickey's Christmas Carol is also something more.
I think we're all basically kids that work here. It's it's sort of one of those enchanted cottages, you know? And I don't think we ever think of ourselves other than kids. And I look at executives walking by and they have these nice suits on and so forth, and I'll think, what are those guys working here for? This is for us kids, you know?
And God blesses everyone.
And so the story ends. Fade out, the end. Whew, what a job.